Hey guys, welcome back to part two of hearing John's story. John, it's so good to have you back.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here again.
John, I wanted to ask you this question. I actually heard about this question on this other podcast. I can't think of the name right now, but I just thought if when I asked you this question, I would love to hear your opinion about it. What is something you didn't pay attention to on early on and had to learn the hard way?
Wow, that's actually a good question. Something I didn't pay attention to was probably catering to the audience and finding out what they want and then providing that for them. Lots of the times in the beginning, you watch so many videos saying that just do what you want or what you feel or whatever excites you. Yeah, that can work. It does work. But then again, you don't know what your niche is because you're just doing whatever excites you, whatever you feel that day. So if you're not niching down, your videos aren't gonna do as well.
Yeah.
So that's also what took my videos so long to blow up because I think I uploaded maybe 2,000 videos before my account really took off. So then I think it was if I knew, okay, Jamal, can you niche down, choose the audience you want, and I chose I wanted to be worldwide, so which was a tough audience. And then that's when I chose my audience. That's when I started seeing the effect of that. So I think the biggest takeaway for me was listen, you need to niche down your audience, know exactly who you want to target, and then cater to that target, and then learn about the person. Find out if you have super fans, if they're commenting, message them, find out who they are, why do they like your content, what do they want more of from you. And that's kind of the biggest takeaway that I would give anyone.
And would you say that's like some of the best advice you would give to someone doing the same thing as you or wanting to start the same thing as you?
Yes, definitely. If it's TikTok, YouTube, whatever you want to start, even a business, that is the best advice I can probably give you in 30 seconds.
And the big question of the last podcast is what was your biggest milestone in your career?
Yo, biggest milestone. Yo, so that's a long story because for me, my biggest milestone is more of a testimony. So what happened was I kind of long story short, I was back in the day, I started on Vine. So I started already at the age of 13 or 12 years, no, 12 years old. I started posting Vines. And then I got into YouTube, got into Instagram when they started rolling out. Obviously, they were quite out already at that time, but I started getting into it. But then I noticed at that time it was already too late for me to get into the game. At that time, it was whoever's famous is famous. And it doesn't matter how original or funny your content is, you can't get big.
Yeah.
And then when was Musical.ly at the time when TikTok came out, all the TikTok videos were coming onto Instagram. And then I saw them blowing up on Instagram. I've never seen so many videos get so many likes.
Yeah.
They were getting millions, 7 million likes. I was like, I've never seen this on Instagram. So then I was like, let me react to it if 7 million people are liking it. And so I reacted to a few of these TikToks that were coming on onto my YouTube. I reacted to the TikToks, but I didn't know they were TikToks at the time. I just saw them as Instagram videos. And then I reacted to this series called Until She Falls in Love with Me. So this guy would record this girl at his school and then slowly try and convince her to fall in love with him every day. And then I reacted to 6 videos in a row on my channel. And that was my first video that got 40,000 views in a week. And I was like, what's that, bro? And then I was freaking out. And then the people that I reacted to's videos, they commented and they were like, hey, go check out, go reply to us on TikTok. We want to chat to you. And I was like, I don't have TikTok. And they're like, download it and stuff like that. I was like, I don't want to download Musical.ly again. That app is cringy. But that's the only way they will communicate with me. So I was like, whatever. I downloaded TikTok to DM them. And then we chatted for a bit, just random stuff, nothing serious.
Yeah.
And then while I was waiting for them to reply and things, I would scroll through the TikTok feed. And I was like, oh, flip, this is a different app. I was like, this is not Musical.ly anymore.
Yeah.
People posting stupid videos and they're getting 10 million views. I can do that. And then so I started jumping onto TikTok and started posting comedy videos. Boom, boom, boom. And then I noticed it wasn't taking off. So I noticed straight away, not straight away, it took a week. I found out that if you have a Musical.ly account, they won't promote your videos because they only promote people that created a TikTok account. So I was like, okay, that's valid. So I made 4 or 5 different accounts, and that's why my name is Jamark van Veek 3, because I made different accounts. I just put a number there. And then every account would be a different genre. So it would be like lip syncing. Number 3 was comedy. Number 4 was like dancing or something. Can't even remember. And then I like posted different videos on all of them, testing out what will go viral, what doesn't go viral. And luckily, comedy took off. Like, phew. And then no, I don't want to be a dancer or lip syncer.
I'm telling you, when I first got into TikTok and I saw how people were getting famous on it, it was all these dances, and I was
Like
like,
thirst trap.
yeah, and I was like thinking, yo, like, and even when I started, I did it something the same. We did it like with my friend and we and a bunch of other people. We try to make these comedy videos as well, and I think the only one that like took off, like I'm talking like 14,000 people only saw it, but I mean, we took the Coke and Mentos and we just chucked it on the ground. That was the only video that made it. But like for you, if I saw you dancing, making thirst traps, I would be looking at you very bit different.
Yeah, no, I actually tested. I tested. Luckily, the videos did not blow up of me doing thirst traps. I'm so thankful for that. But yeah. So then, what happened after that is comedy took off. I copped on trends and everything, and a few videos. I think I got 30,000 views on one video in 2 hours, and then that blew my mind. I was like, I literally thought like, LA, yeah, come, like this is,
Yeah.
I made it. Like,
Where's my private jet?
yeah, like where's my private jet? Like where's the money?
Yeah.
And then I just like kept posting, and then I grew my channel up to like 400,000 followers, and then all of a sudden this thing called COVID happened. I don't know if you heard of it.
Does ring a bell.
Yeah. So COVID hit, and then what they did, which was very interesting, very smart, but not good for us creators. TikTok, everybody was online. So everybody was looking for something to do. They were home. There's this coronavirus happening. So what TikTok did is they took all the views that they gave to the creators to get people on the app. They started giving to people that downloaded the app now. So all the creators got pushed off to the side, and any person that made up a video would go viral. It doesn't matter how dumb the video is, it will go viral. And then that person will be like, oh, look, I'm famous on TikTok. And person's like, what's TikTok? Tells their friend, that friend posts a video, chain effect. So then everybody was downloading TikTok, trying to go viral and things like that. And TikTok became one of the biggest apps due to that. But then all of us creators were suffering because they were taking the views from us that actually deserved the views. Like we were making content that was worth laughing at and stuff, and giving it to someone that was just like, haha, you know?
Yeah.
Literally,
2-second like video.
you can even literally most of my videos is just like recreating someone doing that.
Yeah.
It's literally just like thirst trap, and I was like, wow. Anyways, and then when that happened, my videos took a massive dip. So for like 6 months, I couldn't get a single video over 50,000 views. And before that happened, when I had 400,000 followers, at least once to 2 times a week, I would get a video that would hit 1 or 2 million views. So like I knew how the algorithm worked. I knew how to make a funny video. And then when COVID hit, I couldn't get a video over 50,000 views for 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. Okay. I was posting sometimes 5 to 10 times a day. You can even ask my friends. There was one day I scheduled 120 posts for one day.
Sure.
120 posts, and not one of them got more than 50,000 views.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I was like pushing hard. I was working my ass off. I was creating different trends, different niches and everything.
Yeah.
And you know, the series that took off with the basketball reaction, I created that the month lockdown happened and it didn't blow up. So I actually made that video a month before, the month into lockdown.
Yeah.
And the video didn't take off. So I really created that series and I tried it for a while and it didn't work out. So I tried multiple things throughout that 6 months. And then during that time, I was dealing a lot with depression. I was dealing with anxiety. I was dealing with pornography addiction. I was just going through a lot at that time. And then it was very crazy. What happened was I was trying to get help. Not trying. I went to a church that I didn't feel comfortable sharing. Felt a little bit too condemning. Like I knew if I told anyone, they would tell my parents. And if my parents found out, they would just take away my business.
Yeah.
So it's like phone away, computer away, whatever. It's like that's not healing the problem. So I just decided to deal with it myself. And then so while that is happening, my views are down as well. So like nothing good is going for me, if you can say that.
Yeah.
And then it was just carrying on. And then I was just uploading these videos. And then the one day I was trying to quit pornography in my own strength. So I was like on for a week, off of it for like a week, and then I'll fall back into it. Then I was off of it for like 2 weeks, fall back into it. And then what would happen next was I just got super sick and tired of it. So I messaged my friends. I was like, I'm uploading videos every single day. Nothing's going viral. These videos are going, like, other people are uploading my videos. Like, my video got 10,000 views. Someone will upload it and they get 6 million. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't get a single viral video. And then what happened was I was literally messaging my friends. I was like, I want to quit. Like, this is ridiculous. Because we had like a little group of some SA creators. And then they're like, Jamark, just make one more video. We all love the reaction video, like where you recreate the video, recreating. So I was like, I don't want to do that. They're like, just do it. It was flipping funny. Just do it like 1 or 2 more times. So I was like, fine, I'm going to do this 1 more time. So I go do all my research, find out what's trending, what song will go viral, what video will go viral, what will grab people's attention. So I analyze everything, get the videos like a basketball video. So I go outside, I film it, I recreate myself getting hit by a basketball.
Yeah.
And then what happened was I uploaded it. And in 2 hours, we could determine how viral video will go. So in 2 hours, if it's not over like 20,000 views, it's not going viral. But if it's under that, it won't go viral. If it's over that, we know it's going to blow up. So then I upload this video and it gets like 7,000 views in 2 hours. And I was literally like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I'm sick and tired of this. And then like, I was probably off pornography for about a week.
Yeah.
And then I was so upset with God. I was like, I thought you called me into this industry. I don't know why you like told me this and you told me that. And like, I'm not seeing anything. You're not helping me get views. You're not helping me with this. But beforehand, I told God, I always follow my heart. If God told me to do anything, like be a missionary in like China or Africa, I wouldn't do it. I felt like I'm called to social media and to bless people in that industry. But if he tells me to do anything else, I won't do it. And I told him that, like, I won't do it. Like, I want to stick with my followers. I want to stick with what I enjoy. So that was my heart posture. And then in this moment, cut back to the present, not this present, that present.
Yeah.
And then I was literally like, these views are not blowing up. I was just like, God, I'm angry at you. So I was like, I'm going to look at pornography right now, like to get back at you for what you're not helping me in my career. And then like, I like not even like started. And then all of a sudden, like as I look at like the first photo, like this like depression comes over me. And I was like, no, I can't go through this again. Like I just went through this. I cannot go through this again. And what happened was in that moment, I like took my phone and I like threw it against the wall. And I was like, I can't go through this again. And I just went outside and I started praying. I started praying. I was like, I just can't like live like this anymore. This is ridiculous. And I was just praying. I was like, I don't even know if there's an answer because I've never found an answer for any of the stuff I'm going through. And then like I went back into my room. I just started crying. And it was literally, I think I prayed for like 1 to 2 hours. And in that moment, like after an hour of praying, I was like, that's it. God, I give you my Instagram. I give you my TikTok. I'll delete everything. I'll delete all my followers. I'll delete all my videos. I'll delete everything I own. I'll give you my whole life. I'll be a missionary in Africa. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Just take away this and take away my addiction, take away my depression. I just want all of you. And if that is the answer to it, I'll give everything to you. Yeah. And like I'm bawling with like water coming down my eyes and everything. Then all of a sudden, like a flick, I was like completely peace. I was at peace. I didn't even know what peace was because I didn't know what was happening. I was literally like, my mind is like just quiet for the first time because I'm dyslexic and my mind doesn't keep quiet. So there's always an internal dialogue going on.
Yeah.
And for the first time, my mind was quiet and I didn't even know why I was crying. I was like, okay. And then like my parents were watching a movie, so I just like went to go watch a movie. I went to bed that night. The next morning I woke up and my phone's blowing up. All my friends are messaging me. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, bro, go check TikTok right now. I'm like, why? And they're like, just go do it right now, bro. So I was like, okay. I was like, maybe my videos are like 20,000 views. That'll be cool. And then so I opened TikTok. My video's at 500,000 views. I'm like, whoa, what's this? And then like, what just happened? I haven't got this in 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And my friends are like, go make another one. So I was like, I'm gonna make another one right now. So I go make another video. And by the time I edited and uploaded, the video was already at 1 million. And then I upload that video. That one hit 2 million. Then I made another video, 3 million, 4 million, 5, 6. I was getting like, I think 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. I think my biggest video was like 50 million views, and I was gaining about 1 million followers a week. I was like
Sure.
nearly 70 to 80,000 a day, just coming in, pumping, pumping, pumping. I was literally like, this is ridiculous. But in that moment, I felt God saying like, Jamark, I wanted you in this industry, but I never had your heart. You were doing everything on your own strength, and you can't handle this industry without my strength. And in that moment, I was like, dang, wow, that's powerful. And in that moment, that was like my biggest milestone, because I was humbled before my fame,
Yeah.
and I wasn't doing it alone anymore. I was doing it with the creator of the universe. And that's when I kind of started looking into like this God. Like I grew up with God and go to church, and they say, don't do pornography, it's bad for you. Don't have sex outside of marriage, it's bad for you. Don't drink alcohol, it's bad for you. Don't drugs, it's bad for you. But they never told you why, and they don't tell you the solution if you've fallen into it.
Yeah.
And so then that's where my journey started, when I started seeking out God for myself, seeking out how to answer these questions and stuff. And that's where I found lots of healing. But since that day, it was actually yesterday, August 8th, 2020 is the day I quit pornography. And
Yeah.
I've never had depression or pornography since that day. And yeah, so that's when my life changed. I actually was celebrating that yesterday with my mate, because funny enough, he came out of pornography the exact same day a year later.
Jeez.
So then
What a coincidence.
yeah, I was literally like told him, and then he was like, wait, that's the same date as me. So now we like celebrate, maybe once a year we do sushi or go watch a movie or something. So
Oh, dude, that's so like cool. Like just to hear that you even you can even share that experience with someone, like, and especially your mate. I know when we go through stuff like that as well, we normally ask why. And when we ask why, it's like, I've done nothing wrong. It's almost in that situation, I've done nothing wrong. Like I
Yeah.
haven't hit a kid or anything. And you like ask, even when I went through hospital and I was going, and I was never sick, right? I was always in school, and I never like, yes, I did do the like sick days, like like to
Yeah,
my parents.
I did that too.
But when I got into hospital and they said, okay, you're gonna be on 6 months, you're gonna go through chemo, radiation, all this stuff, and I was like, I don't know how to process. And you probably also like, I don't know how to process what, because I always wanted to do like that. Like I just wanted to be like a normal kid, and you just wanted to be like this person that was in social media because you loved it. And when that was taken away from you, you were like, okay, well,
Yeah.
like, what happened? And you got humbled, and I also got humbled, where, obviously in different aspects. So, I mean, you on the fact of like being able to do what you love, and me just like obviously life. And that's why when as dark as it is, when people ask me like how does it feel to be in that state, like where it was your final moments and whatnot, and I say I just enjoy people, I enjoy life, and things can just be taken away like just on a snap of a finger.
Yeah.
Like, and when I hear your story, it actually reminded a bit of mine, as like different as it is, but it did remind me of mine, and that's the way I also got closer to God. And like I said, we always ask why, but we never know what his plan is. And I just thought like that was such a great story to remind me of mine, and why I see you now as so humble. When you came around now with like getting all your followers back and whatnot, did you still keep your connection with God?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that happened for me was like my numbers skyrocketed, and I started seeking out this relationship with God, and I never truly knew how to do it. So I just carried on going to church with my parents, didn't take in anything.
Yeah.
And then what was happening was I was just like reading the Bible. There was something different. I just knew like I have this relationship with God, but I don't know how to access it. Like I know He's there, and like
Yeah.
it's like you have this thing inside of you, but you don't know what it is, if you know what I mean. And then I went on like a whole bunch of supernatural things have happened to me over the years. But long story short, I'm just gonna cut to I was on tour with a band with Neon Dreams, and while I was on tour with them, I was like scrolling through TikTok, thinking of ideas for what to do on this tour. And that whole tour is a miracle itself. But while I'm scrolling on there, I see this one guy keep popping up, this one pastor, and he kept always, every time I saw his video, like I would like it, and that's probably why it kept popping up. But he would say things that would shock me. I was like, pastors will say that? Wait, He's giving an answer to a problem. Pastors never do that. And I was like, this is insane. And so then when I came back from tour, I was like, let me just check out one of his videos. And then I started watching, like, his first video was on peace. And I watched it. I was like blown away. I've never, ever in my life taken notes on anything. Schoolwork, school, whatever, like church, nothing. I've never taken notes. I've never pulled out my phone and wrote down notes. Everything is like in my head. All my ideas, everything was in my head. And then all of a sudden, I was like, where's my phone? I need to write that down. I need to write that down. And then I was like, wrote this whole thing down. I was literally like, I got that from a 30-minute sermon. I was like, this is ridiculous. And then I was like, let me watch another video because it was so interesting. It was like a movie to me. That's how fascinating it was. I was like, I have this superpower. And then I started applying it to my life and I saw fruit. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this stuff works. This is not just like fluff. Like I did what he said, applied the biblical thing to my life and it worked out. So I was like, this is fruit from what I'm learning. So I carried on learning. And that's when I went through a deep thing where I was like, I just felt on my heart like I need to spend time with God now. Yeah. Like I've grown my social medias and stuff like that, but in order for me to like be effective in my industry, I need to know who God is first. Because if I don't understand God and I don't understand what He's done for me, then how can I help others? Yeah. You know, if they ask me a question, I won't be able to answer anything. And that's when I started diving deep into my relationship. I was watching like, I think 2 to 3 sermons a day. Then I would like watch, I think my whole day, I literally had a thing. I wake up, read the Bible. Then this is all I did all by myself. I decided to do this. It was like, I wake up, read the Bible, do the Bible app, do a Bible plan, listen to a podcast, a 10-minute podcast on wisdom. Then I would go watch a sermon in the morning. Then after the sermon, I'll eat. And then while I'm eating, I'll watch a 10-minute YouTube video on how to hear God's voice better or clearly, or how to understand scripture. Then straight after that, I'll watch the Bible Project, understanding how like the science and math and all that behind and history about the Bible. And then straight after that, I'll watch another sermon. And like, that was like my day. And I just did that for like months.
Sure. I actually remind me of this quote that I read in Jay Shetty's book, Think Like a Monk. If you want new ideas, read an old book.
Yeah, no, it's so true.
And like when you say stuff like that, like it makes me think like when you got into this whole idea that you need to spend more time with God and listening to 3 sermons. I mean, okay, listen. I went to one sermon on Sunday, and like even when I was a kid, like my parents would bring me to the church, and like I'm gonna be honest, I would literally start counting the bricks of the church.
No, facts. I literally had a whole scenario breakout in my mind on what would happen if the church was under attack and I would save everyone. Bro, that's all I did at church.
Yeah, and then even when it came to like if you got the bread and stuff like that, and I was like, do I deserve this? Because I wasn't really paying attention. Like, and it came to the moments where I said, okay, I'm going to be honest, like I don't have a relationship, that strong a relationship that I go to church and I listen to. It's like I have my personal relationship with God. Like I can just speak to Him and I can ask Him and I read the book. But when I hear all this other stuff that the churches say sometimes, I'm just like, no, that's not Him. That's like he's more loving, right?
Yeah.
Like he's my homie. Have you ever had people come up to you and ask you like for favors in the sense of like your career, like?
Yo, I think Josh is asking me a lot. Not joking. No, I've had so many people do that. So as soon as my fame started like going up, I had the most craziest people message me out of nowhere. I literally had like family members that literally told me to my face, you're nothing, your videos are stupid. They said that to my face. Like, I'm not sugarcoating it. They're like, your videos are dumb. No one's going to watch your videos. The same people messaging me like, well done, we knew you could do it. I literally was like,
what?
Who is this person, bro? And then so I had tons of those. I had people that like I played soccer with that like bullied me. I had like people in school that they didn't really bully me. I always beat them up, but like verbally, like say things. I just like push it off. So I wasn't bullied. I'm not a weakling. But people that would say bad things to me and I just like push it off to the same people that would message me and be like, well done, congratulations. I was like, bro, who even are you?
Yeah.
Like you're only coming now. So yes, I've had lots of experiences and people asking me for favors and money and things like that. I'm like, listen, bro, I'm a South African creator. I don't make money.
Yeah. SA.
Yeah. So yeah, no, there's quite a few stories. But yeah, I'll actually tell you one story, which is pretty cool. So when I just left on tour with Neon Dreams, I had one of my sister's old friends message me, and he messaged me like prior back, like I was not close with him, but I played Fortnite with him every now and then. And then he messaged me, I must like follow him on his TikTok because he's making a new TikTok account. I was like, oh, whatever, dude. Like, because it's a big thing for me to follow someone because I had people get famous if I made a video about them or if they saw me following them as well. Like, people get, I think I made a video about one guy and he gained 2 million followers off of me creating a video about him. So I had lots of good looking people were DMing me to make fun of them. It was actually really funny. But anyways, and then my one friend's like, yo, follow me on, I'm making like a Call of Duty TikTok account and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, I followed this guy. Like, I never see him. And then as soon as he stopped posting, I like unfollowed him. But anyways, and then he messaged me again while I was on tour. He's like, hey, let's meet up for coffee sometime and chat. It's like, what does this guy want from me now after like doing that? So I like just pushed him off. I didn't even reply because I was on tour. So I was like, what am I going to say? Let's meet up for coffee and I don't know when I'm going to be home. So then I just left him undelivered. And then what's it now? When I came back from tour, I started spending time with God and growing my relationship. When I started learning how to hear God's voice, the first time I was like sitting there and I was like, okay, Lord, I watched like a whole series on how to hear God's voice now, like 7 sermons. And I studied it, wrote it, biblical, everything. I was like, okay, how exactly do I do this now? And then like I literally sat there and I was like, okay, Lord, I want to hear your voice. Speak to me. So I sit there. And the guy's name was Sean. So he's like, message Sean. I'm like, God, speak to me right now. Message Sean. I'm like, bruh. Who's Sean? And then like he brings like, I was like, Satan, get back. He must have missed. And then like I kept hearing Sean, message Sean, message Sean, message Sean. And I was like, first of all, I'm not thinking of Sean. So this must be like God. And then but I was also like, I don't want to message this guy. He's gonna ask me to like follow some other Instagram account now. So then I just like push it off. And then I was like, you know what, God? Yeah, I just kept hearing that the whole time. Message Sean. So I was like, okay, God, if this is you, this is the first time I ever heard him. I was like, if this is you, I want you to give me confirmation. I want to message him. Okay, give me confirmation. He either must message me, or I must see something or confirmation. You could throw out confirmation. I'll know it when I see it. So then, because in the sermons they said you can ask for confirmation. So I was like, okay, go ahead, give me confirmation. So I haven't messaged or spoken to this guy. I haven't seen him in 3 years, and I haven't messaged him in like probably 4 or 5 months. So then like 4 months ago he asked for the coffee. So then I was like, whatever. And then I just like the next day go to bed, wake up literally the next day, go to church with my parents, come back. So I was like, what are we doing today? They're like, we're gonna take the dogs to Bloberg, gonna take them for a walk on the beach. I'm like, cool. And my older sister walks in. I don't know why, but Sean's coming with us to the beach. I'm like, who? Sean Lost, the guy we haven't seen in 3 years. Is he coming with us to the beach? She's like, yeah. Why? I'm like, no reason. I was like, so, crazy. But also during this time, my family has no idea what happened at all. They have no idea. I haven't told anyone anything has happened to me. And then, what's it now? I was like freaking out. I was like, I heard God's voice for the first time. This thing is real. Like, I'm not tripping and everything. And then like Sean comes over and like, I still haven't like replied. He's still delivered on my phone. And then Sean like comes in. He's like, yo, how's it, Jamark? I'm like, yo, what's up, Sean? Like, how you doing? Like, my face is like this, bro. And then, like, it was literally supernatural things happen. Like, we were all going to get in one car, and obviously I'm not going to tell my parents what has happened. And then my dad's like, Jamark, we need to take 2 cars because of this reason. I'm like, okay, Sean, you coming with me then? And then like in the car, and my sister's in the back and me and Sean are in the front. And then we're busy driving. I'm like, Lord, can I ask you, can I tell him now? And he's like, no, not yet. I'm like, can I tell him now? He's like, no, not yet. Can I tell him now? No, not yet. Then after we reverse out of the driveway, I'm like, can't tell him. Then, literally. And then all of a sudden, I think I convinced myself that God said it's the time. But anyways, so I was like, I just heard yes. And I was like, okay, Sean, listen. And I literally turned to my sister that's sitting in the back. I'm like, Sean's not here for you. He's here for me. And I like, listen, Sean, I tell Sean everything. And then Sean was like, no, that's crazy, because the reason I messaged you for coffee is because I felt God telling me on my heart I need to reach out to you. And then I was like, dang. And then he's actually the guy that started discipling me. So
Yeah.
we started meeting up for coffee and things like that. So that was one of the good reasons when someone wanted something from me.
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's one of those mind-blowing situations where you were speaking to him, and I was actually speaking to him as well, and then
Yeah.
you were at this moment where you're like, oh my gosh, there's no way you put him like
Yeah.
right here. No, like,
3 years is 3 years I haven't seen him. He comes to my house for the beach the next day.
yeah, like even hearing his story, I would have thought Sean would have been like, okay, John actually doesn't want to speak to me because he
Yeah.
left me undelivered and whatnot. But the fact that he had the same reaction, like, no, God been telling me to see you as
Yeah.
well. It's like,
That's why he messaged my sister to come with us to the beach. Yeah. Because he just felt like, I don't know why, but I just need to meet up with the Fun Bakes.
yo,
I was
that's, dude, that's some like spiritual stuff, right? there. Like, as much as I get, like, I have mine crazy story as well when there was a moment where I actually died on the table anyway. Yeah, and
This guy doesn't
I
tell
ha-
me nothing.
and I like I just the last thing I remember, my father like clapping me in the face, like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I didn't know that was going to be my last vision. I was like imagine that, like your father beating you. and I woke up and someone said, wake up. And I knew the voice, but I couldn't picture it. And for me, that was like, okay, what was that? And then wake up. And I woke up, and I'll never forget this. I woke up and I got out of bed, and then my mother had the biggest face. It was like jaw dropping, like, and she was like bawling her eyes out as well. She was like, I thought you were dead. Like that all, it
Yeah.
felt like a movie scene.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I thought you were dead. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, I'm fine. I'm chilling. I'm
Yeah.
good. Like,
Where are we?
and then they said, no, they said you were dead.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I'll never forget this. Like I said, I knew the voice, but I couldn't picture it.
Dang.
And it's probably the same when you like spoke to God. You knew the voice,
Yeah.
but you couldn't picture it. Like you knew you were battling with
Yeah.
someone. And that for me, it was also like my eye-opening series of like, maybe he is closer than
Yeah.
you think. And yo, that's it.
Dude.
It just felt like the same energy there.
That's so cool. I got goosebumps, bro.
Yeah. Like, and even after that, I had many other problems. But I mean, I've had him close to me.
Yeah.
The one thing is that I felt when you said, like, when you go to church, you feel like you get a different energy as well, like you're with other people speaking about God. But I'm pretty sure you have your own personal opinion about how you see him and whatnot. I wanted to ask you on what was like, if you had to give people an advice on how to talk to him, since you had like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sermons with if you had to advise her to like speak to not even God, like someone, just like, how did you quiet your mind to speak spiritually? Like,
Yeah, it's an interesting question because it does come down to have they received Christ, because obviously you can have a supernatural encounter with him even though you haven't received Christ, but in order to talk to him you would need to have received Christ. So as that's the main point, then yes. So if I'm talking to someone that has received that, then it just comes down to quieting the mind. So it's literally the first thing I tell people is you need to know scripture, because God speaks in scripture. So lots of the times he's spoken to me, and literally 4 months later I will see what he said to me in scripture, and I was like, what? This is in the Bible? And I didn't even know this was like he would tell me scientifically certain things, like words. I have to Google words that I hear because it's not in my vocabulary. And then I Google it and it's exactly what he's referring to. I'm like, anyways. But it comes down to like spending time in scripture, spending time in the word. The more you get closer to him, the more his voice. So he's actually constantly always talking to us. It's just that we choose, are we going to tune into his frequency? Like a radio, turn into the frequency of the radio. It's the same with him. You can choose, I'm going to grow this voice, or am I going to like hearing more clearly, or am I going to do my own thing? Because again, it comes down to what you prioritize and what you want. So I wanted that, and I would spend sometimes like an hour to 2 hours a day meditating. Like this is much later.
yeah,
Because I wanted to grow that voice very strong. But in the beginning, it just came down to reading scripture, spending time in the Word, going to a good church that can feed you as well, spiritually, and then just also just quieting the mind, like, Lord, I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is hard in the beginning. So I normally people that are very interested in hearing his voice straight away. Then I say, come, we can, like, I'll lead you in it. And then, like, they'll get stuck on just him saying, I love you. And then I'll guide them in, okay, ask him this. And they're like, oh, wow, he's speaking
Yeah.
back to me. I was like, yeah, because sometimes we cut him off. As soon
Yeah.
as we hear something, it's like, God would be, Jamark, I love you. I'm like, I know that. That's not God. That's me. I'm
Yeah.
like, why would I tell myself, Jamark, I love you? It's not even my own voice. I would say, I love you, not Jamark, I love you. So sometimes we cut him off when we think we've heard something familiar. So that's actually the biggest fallout for people to hear God's voice, is that they think it's theirs. But if you just let it run, so what I tell people is, don't criticize the voice yet. Let it run, then write it down, and then analyze is it lining up with the Word?
Yeah.
And then you can, like, go through it. Is this God talking or not? Because lots of the times we just cut him off. We just hear, like, oh, I love you. I'm like, oh, that's not God. Okay, I can't hear him today. And then normally I was like, someone challenged me. They're like, what is he saying after that? I'm like, oh, maybe I should ask him. So the next time I just heard, Jamark, I love you. And I was like, thank you, Father. What else? And then brrr, I was like, whoa. And
Extra
then,
information.
exactly. So yeah, that's probably the best advice I can give on that.
And do you think that you've had any moments now in your career where you still feel like he challenges you on your career, like I know he gave you that humbling experience, but he's also given you now, because how I see it, how he works is he always gives us challenges. He always wants us to learn something. He always wants us to be better. Do you ever feel like there's been moments now?
I think there's lots of wisdom.
Yeah.
I love how God says that because we have His Spirit living inside of us. Recently, my pastor challenged me on this, which I love, because I always thought, like, God says we can ask for wisdom and He will give to those who ask. But He doesn't say to Christians. He says to anyone that asks, He will give wisdom. So I was like, I always found that interesting. I've been obsessed with wisdom as a kid, growing up. And also, like, I was like, I always want to be wise. I want to be as wise as Solomon and things like that. And I was like, when I prayed, I used to pray, God, I pray that you give me wisdom just up until Solomon, because I know he's the wisest man that ever lived.
Yeah.
And then actually Solomon wasn't the wisest man that ever lived, because Solomon said that he doesn't know what the end is.
Yeah.
And Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And Jesus also told what the end would be.
Yeah.
And what's it now? Solomon didn't know that, and Jesus knew that. And Jesus had the Spirit of God in him. So now we have the Spirit of God in us. So now we actually have access to being wiser than Solomon, because we have the wisdom of God now, not the wisdom of man. So I was like, dang. So then in that was literally I was like blown away when he dropped that bomb on me. So I was like, dang, I can be wiser than Solomon. That is super cool. So then with that challenge, I've always been able to, like, seek out God's wisdom and see how I can practically bring it into the challenges that I'm facing. So when a challenge does come up against me, then I'll be like, Lord, I pray for wisdom on this. I pray that you guide me in wisdom on how to handle it, how to deal with it. I want to learn from this, what's happening. And I found a lot of fruit in that. And that's where lots of... I like the one thing my boss also said, which has stuck with me like the rest of my life. He says, if you want to live a trouble-free life, you need to be consumed by God.
Yeah.
And I've noticed when I'm not consumed by God, my life is like stressing, things aren't working out, this is breaking down, that's breaking down, the door handle, my coat gets stuck on it, like everything. And then the more time I spend with God, the more peace I have, because Jesus never rushed anywhere. He never ran, he always walked. So I was like, the more time I spend with God, like I just don't rush places. I'm more calm and more relaxed. Still human, so I need to get things done.
Sure.
But when I put like meditation first and spend time with Him, like meditation on the Bible, I can see the difference in my day like this.
And when you feel like you've done your meditation, do you feel like you're a lot more happier? Or?
Oh, definitely. Like I was actually talking to my God this morning, and then because my mind's been racing a lot recently, and I haven't been meditating.
Yeah.
And then I was like my mind crazy, and then he's like, Jamark, if you meditate, what meditation does is that it brings you to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
When you practice focusing on one thing, you build a habit. So when things are crazy, you can choose to focus on one thing that's important. So by meditating, it's not necessarily for me to gain anything, Jamark, it's for you to gain something. I was like, dang. He's like, the more you spend time with me in meditation, the more you can control your thoughts.
Yeah.
And the more you'll be able, because you are practicing how to control that. I was like, that was awesome. Thank you.
I needed that.
Thank you. So, yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question on actually just based around all of this. If you can make one law that everyone had to follow, what would it be?
Yeah. That's a tough one. I've always dreamed about being president just to come up with a bunch of laws. Like first law will be like no speed cameras, only speed cameras on certain places that are dangerous.
Yeah.
So it makes people slow down because I've nearly crashed into a place. But because there was a speed camera, I slowed down. And when I took that corner, I was like, okay, if I was going normal speed, okay. But let me think.
But that could never work in South
Yeah,
Africa. Everyone just drives 120 everywhere.
no. Most of the cameras are broken anyway. So the I think one law. Oof, that is so tough, bro. I think laws don't. Okay, this is my thing. Laws don't actually mean anything at the end of the day. What the biggest change would be is being under right leadership. So if you can have a president or government or whatever it is in what country you're in that is under biblical law, I don't see how things won't thrive. Because we've seen, doesn't matter if you have a good president, it's like, oh, we're going to give you electricity. Thanks for doing your job. But like, if they're not under biblical law, then the country will never get better because they're just catering to needs and not actually building up the country. But when they're under biblical law, they're like, how can we make everyone's lives better? How can we build up? How can we change? How can we make things better? How can we change people's minds and grow that so they can become wiser and smarter and handle conversations and things like that? Like if you go, the kids we help, my dad helps in the ministry, like those kids can't even count, you know? And that's what they brought up. So at the age of 20, they don't know how to provide for their families because that's what they're taught. So a godly government will be trying to solve that. So it wouldn't necessarily be a law because I don't believe one law would change anything. But if I had to choose a law, it would be no speed limits.
There's a good. You caught yourself there. But anyway.
I thought of a law.
Yeah. If you had to describe yourself in the past with one word and you had to describe yourself now in one word, what would it be?
Sure. I think the past, one word would be lost. And then this one would be found.
Okay. And this is generally my last question with all my podcasts. And what do you feel that you're not alone means to you?
Wow. I think it means everything. Because like I literally remember like skateboarding. Like I would literally go outside and skateboard and cry. And I'll just be like, God, I just want one day where I feel normal. Like I could never control my thoughts. I always felt sick. I always felt anxiety. I always felt depression. Like I always felt everything the whole time. And there was never a cure that I knew of. And I literally just remembered like, God, I just want one day of being normal. I just want one day of being normal. I would pray for that. Like just one day, I would give up anything for 24 hours of just feeling normal. And what's it now? And then when I had that supernatural experience, when I started understanding who God really was, that's when I felt like, wow, I'm never alone. And I think this carries me through everything, constantly, 24/7. This carries me that I'm not alone, that I'm one with Christ, that He lives on the inside of me. I have access to Him 24/7. Whenever there's an issue, I can bring it up to Him. He's always talking to me. He's not like a person that's like, I'm upset with you, I'm not gonna talk to you for 2 days. He's like, I'm there. He's ready to listen. He's there to help you through your situation. And knowing that there's someone there 24/7 that I can always lean on, no matter what emotion I'm feeling, no matter what the circumstances is, knowing that there's someone supernaturally that will help you out of it, or in it, is the most comfortably feeling I could ever say.
Wow. I mean, like having that that relationship with him is it's what most people wish on, actually, but even pray on, and having someone that you can always talk to is also good. John, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining me on this podcast, as well coming back on the podcast. And thanks, guys, for joining the podcast today, and hope you guys have a good day as well. Please like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.